Well, folks, it all comes down to this. 2 teams enter, only one can only name himself national champions. Welcome to the CFT National Championships for the CFT tournament for College Football 25. I am the other guy, alongside my broadcast partner, Brownsville Gamer.
And I'm very excited to be here with you because, look, we started with 21 amazing teams across all of our conferences, and now we're down to the final 2. And keep in mind, these are the top 2 teams that performed throughout the tournament. We're talking about the second-seeded Washington versus the top-seeded Georgia. And look, if you are saying to myself, hey, isn't it strange that Washington, one of the 2 finalists, is unranked? I mean, look, if you see this that way, remember this. It's not what they say in terms of your ranking. It's how you play when it matters here in this championship game. And with that, the kickoff is underway. And that other guy, let's start with this. What does Washington need to do to make it as a national champion? Because they're playing as the underdog at this point.
I would say not to be too aggressive. Be conservative, but not too aggressive unless you have to. Do not give Georgia any opportunity, and I mean any opportunity, to break open the score. You got to contain them and contain them early. Put pressure on them and make sure they don't get any big plays. If you do that, you can have a chance.
And right there, that was a gain of 9, making it 2nd and 1 at the 29. We noticed the profile player for the Bulldogs is no other than Trevor Etienne, the halfback. I mean, Trevor has been a force for the Bulldogs. Can he deliver a national championship today? We'll see if it happens, and I'll start with him. And no, the play action worked with a pass, and that's going to be a first down by number 86, Bell, and that's going to be now 1st and 10 at the 35. Now, that other guy, in terms of keys to victory, what do you think Georgia needs to do to solidify a national championship?
I think Georgia, they have been pretty much flawless. With some minor hiccups here and there, they have been unstoppable. I mean, they've run roughshod all over this tournament, and I believe that if they continue the way they are and continue playing how they're playing, they could make history, be the first team that can go undefeated and win it all.
And that's a very notable thing. Georgia is 8-0, 6 in the prelims, 2 consecutive wins in the playoffs. They defeated Tulane, Notre Dame, Liberty, the Ohio State Buckeyes, Missouri, and the Rolling Tide of Alabama. And if you don't think that was impressive, in the quarterfinals, they defeated Oregon with a blowout 43-0 and a semifinal finish against LSU 28-4. Georgia belongs here.
I mean, if you go undefeated and make the championship, I would assume you belong here.
Well, look, for some, it was a breeze. For others, a bit of a challenge. Washington comes in with only 1 loss. They lost to Missouri 49-34, but they were able to beat Penn State in the quarterfinals 28-23, and a very close and deciding game against the Texas Longhorns 7-2. Note, that was the lowest scoring game in CFT history. So for Washington, it wasn't just a walk in the park. Yes, it's expected if you make it here that you did what you had to do, but it wasn't easy for Washington.
As you see, Washington is containing Georgia so far. But I don't want to get to this trap. We've seen teams before that try to trap Georgia, and then Georgia just blows it open later on in the game. So I'm not falling for this.
And with that, it leads to, I guess, the most important question that I wanted to wait until now to ask you. We're here now. We've been doing this show for months, and now we are at a national championship game.
The hell was that?
It looks like they were trying to throw it out, but didn't gain much. My question to you, that other guy, is who do you got? Is it Georgia or is it Washington?
The smart money says go with Georgia because it's Georgia, and they've been undefeated. But if you want to walk on the wall side, I'm going to go with Washington.
If you have to ask me who I got in this game, you would think I would go straight chalk and say Georgia. But I don't know. I got something in the feel with this Huskies team. I think the Huskies might actually, if there could be one team to pose a possible upset, I'm going to go with the Huskies too. I'm going to root them on.
You're not going with Georgia?
No. Look, I think that this game can be straight chalk if it needs to be, because look at that reception by number 86. But Washington they're not scrubs. They're not scrubs at all. I mean, they were able to make it, and they had to go up against Penn State and Texas to make it to this national championship game. So if you have the confidence in Washington, so will I.
All right. Well, we're going to see. I mean, it's early. This is it. It all comes down to this. I mean, what a journey it has been to be here.
And look at this crowd. I know that we're here at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, but man, this looks like a home
game for
coming
Georgia.
for the Bulldogs of Georgia. And right there with that key reception, they're already at the 1st and goal at the 2, deep in the hot red zone, and they're trying to see if they can get the first 6 points out of the way to try to secure a national championship. Remember, if Georgia wins today, Georgia will be the only school in CFT history to win undefeated.
I mean, it hasn't been done before. I don't know if it'll be ever replicated again. But let's see what happens as this time goes on. They're already in the red zone, moving pretty fast with about 19 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
We're already down to the first quarter, and that's about to go to an end. And if you're Washington, you're known for your, calm, tempoed paced defense. But they're going to need to really step it up a notch if you're going up against a team like the Bulldogs. And they are able to get the snap out before time ran out, and it will end there at the 3. End of the first of 4 quarters of this national championship, and it's 0-0.
And already we got past the first quarter pretty quickly, with Georgia's basically having all the statistics so far.
Because it was all Georgia. They had possession of the ball for the entirety of the first quarter. And if honestly, if you want to play it that way, it's smart football.
I mean,
keep it in possession.
For an entire quarter, it's kind of crazy.
And the payoff was worth it because they get the touchdown.
Wow, what a way to start the championship game, already drawing blood, be it that the second quarter, but they did it nonetheless.
It took a quarter, but they got there by Trevor Etienne. He's going to give the Bulldogs a very important first down. And let's look at Trevor Etienne once again. I mean, it was a really smart move to try to keep his balance while taking advantage of that opening gap. And with that being said, we should see an extra point that should be good for now. One more point that will make it 7-0. We're waiting for the kickoff for this extra point.
Let's see what they go. Well, I mean, obviously they're going to kick it.
And they will make the upright right there. A 13-play, 82-yard, 5-minute drive. A full quarter it was needed to tack on the first 7 points of this national championship.
As they kick the ball back to Washington, what do you think Washington needs to do to respond?
Punch them in the mouth. Shut them down. You're the Huskies. You are not intimidated by tough competition. You proved that against Texas.
But this is not Texas. This is Georgia.
Right. And you know what? They could try to do what they need to do against Texas, against Georgia. I mean, the similarities between Texas and Georgia is this. Their defense gets tired when they can't handle the tempo. So if they can keep it up,
get out the end zone.
They should do something. He was able to throw it out, and they wasted it because that was an interception by number 24. I mean, look, the quarterback was in the pocket for like at least 5 seconds. That's an eternity in this game.
What I don't understand. He lucky he didn't give up a safety.
He was just standing there, sitting there, waiting for a receiver to get open, and when it happened, he threw it in double coverage.
Well, I would, as I always say, I'd rather take a pick than take 2 points.
Look at the safety, number 24, Malaki Starks, stalked him, was able to get the pressure out, and made the quarterback throw a terrible-looking pass for an interception.
Well, Georgia gets the ball back.
And they're going to get it at the 32, man in motion. They're going to give it to the halfback, Etienne, and Etienne is going to go for a yard, and now it's 2nd and 9.
Let's see what they do here with 4:32 left to go in the first half.
And right here, you're looking at a crowd of over 90,000 attendees. It's near 50-50 of purple and red. I mean, at this point, everybody's here because they can't help but to see history in the making. Right now, the quarterback, number 15, stands and gets it for the first down, passes it down, and number 24 was disappointed by that. And they're a little excited because, look, they're putting it all out there This is
I
it.
mean, we got to be careful. You don't want your best player to get ejected over nonsense. You got to keep your emotions in check.
Right, you got to stay in the game. All right, you want to win a championship? It starts by staying in the game. And right now, number 15 in the pocket was able to get the reception, and Carson Beck already over 100 yards in passing, and it's only the first half. And right now, they're going to be at the 3-yard line in a 1st and goal.
Well, let's see what they do here. It is now 3:27 left to go. Do you think Georgia needs to just continue to push it down, Washington throw, or be conservative?
Etienne is going to have a breakout moment sooner or later, but the passing game is what's saving Georgia. And right now, Beck, staying in the pocket, was able to make the connection to number 86, and Bell locks it in for another Bulldogs touchdown.
Well, folks, don't want to say it's getting out of hand, but it's starting to get out of hand.
Look, Georgia likes to win it early. They like to know that by the time they're in the second half, they don't have to worry about catching up. Let's look at what number 86, Dylan Bell, did. He managed to get open knowing that the pocket was going to collapse in terms of a passing catch, and he was able to just be there at the right time to make that key reception for a touchdown.
And to make it pretty impressive, he's able to hold on the ball after getting just hammered in the end zone.
Well, let's take a look at this. It's going to be another extra point that is good for the Bulldogs. And now with a 4-play, 32-yard drive, they're going to take it for another touchdown. And now it's 14-0.
Well, folks, we got to, I don't want to sound somber, but every time Georgia gets into a big lead, they don't relinquish it.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. Washington can shut things down if they have some sort of breathing room to do it. They're not going to be able to get that much breathing room. They're at the 14. But I'm not giving up on the Huskies. The Huskies just need a breakout drive to turn things around. Right now, it gets it to number 85, the tight end, and doesn't get much out of it. In fact, nothing was gained.
Can't turn things around when you can't move the ball.
Very true. And right now, as the clock is ticking, as we move into the second half, Washington is going to have to make some key adjustments on the offensive line to try to make some key differences to turn things around. But right now, it's 2nd and 10 at the 14, and it goes to number 12, but doesn't gain much. It's just a gain of 2.
Yeah, he doesn't really. Well, I mean, it's better than nothing, but you got to move the change. I mean, you got to get something for a half at the very least.
I mean, they're playing with this type of composure where it's like, you know what? We're not going to overhype ourselves and start making sloppy mistakes. They're going to try to regain the momentum that works for the Huskies. But they're going to have to do it on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 8. And number 7, dealing with the blitz and couldn't handle it. And that is going to put them to 4th and damn. I mean, that's a rough one for the Huskies.
They're probably most likely going to punt it.
And let's look at Malarkey Starks once again. He is not wasting any time.
Look how fast he got off the line. That's the incredible part. I mean, he just flew to the quarterback.
The blast of speed that just couldn't be handled by the quarterback of Washington.
After we reached a 2-minute warning.
Already, we are at a position here where if Georgia can turn it around with another key touchdown, it's going to get harder and harder for the Huskies to get themselves out of this hole. Right now, they're going to kick the ball out, and it's going to look like it's going to be a fair catch. No, it's not. They're going to run it off the 50. And right
I'm
there,
surprised. Why didn't feel catch it?
They'll be near the 40, actually at the 40-yard line.
They're in there, right? They're in their territory.
Let's see if they can get it done with this field position. Number 15 stays in the pocket. Beck is still looking. He is still scanning.
And that's going to be a bowl.
That should have been an interception.
That should have been a pick 6.
I mean, look, he was in the pocket. You can't complain about, there was a rush coming. No one was there. He waited to see if an open receiver could do something. And when he tried, it was nearly an interception.
Yeah, and like I said, that should have been a pick 6, but it wasn't. Luckily, it wasn't. It's now 2nd and 10. Throws the ball
and Beck will make it. And right there, number 1 gets the first down. And Beck is like, yes, this is what I needed. And look at that once again. No one home with the diving catch. And now we're getting closer to the end of the first half. And I think the Bulldogs can try to get another touchdown in. They will not get a complete pass. It was a drop pass. And so now it's going to be 2nd and 10 at the 18. Looking once again at Beck. Beck thought that number 6 was going to be able to hold on to it, but was unable to do so.
Well, it's about a minute 12 left to go in the first half. Let's see if Georgia's going to try to do anything to add on to their lead.
Beck's going to hold on to it up the middle, and that's going to be a first down and more by number 6.
Well, they're in the reds. I mean, they're in the goal line. I mean,
Lovett is getting it together and trying to see if they can bring it close to another Bulldogs touchdown as the clock is ticking, going down to the final minute of the first half of this national championship.
Washington has got to put a stop here. They don't want to go down the
Clock
halftime.
is ticking.
3 possessions.
And Staring looks for it, and that's going to be a touchdown by Levitt.
I literally said that, and they end up just going down 3 possessions.
And look where we are right now. Sorry, I said Levitt when I meant Etienne. Trevor Etienne with a touchdown as a halfback. And look where we are right now. It is 20-0. And Trevor Etienne, he can catch as well as he can throw. With that mid-range catch, he was able to stay in the slot, and no one was really there.
Oh, boy, this is not looking good for Washington. It's really not. With 38 seconds left to go.
Washington is going to have to own the second half if they have any shot of turning things around. We're going to see the extra point right now, and the kick is up, and it makes the upright. It's a 5-play, 39-yard drive for 1 minute and 14 seconds. And let's look at that Bulldog representing the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
And right now, the Huskies, you're like, so what? It is the battle of the dogs, the Huskies versus the Bulldogs.
And we see who's winning.
This is definitely a dogfight, but right now, it's the Bulldogs that's winning it at the moment. Washington, you're going to have to do something here. They're going to have to demonstrate that they can make some offense, make some points off of the offense. And number 7 is going to stick around. He steps back, gets it off. Number 1 is going to go for about 8 yards.
They got timeouts, so why did they not use it?
They have all of their timeouts. I think they get the ball back in the second half, so they're just trying to see what they can do. But use your timeouts. You got them.
And they're not.
The clock is still ticking. It's going down to 15 seconds as the offense is figuring out what they're going to do. 5 seconds to go. This will be the final play of the half. Snap is out. Number 7 steps back, stays in the pocket, gets it to number 85, and the tight end is going to do enough to convert it for a first down. We are at the end of the first half of our national championship.
It's starting to turn into a blowout as we see the statistics.
Look at the Bulldogs. 147 in the pass, 6 in the rush. They're averaging 7 per play with 11 first downs. 11. You can't lose a game when all you're doing is generating first down after first down after first down. Beck is looking amazing in his ability to throw it in the air and not have to deal with much traffic. I mean, it's like Washington is extremely reactive by these passing plays.
We've seen a team, Washington, in the last game, they got sacked 12 times and still won the game.
That is very true. I mean, Texas was just knocking their lights out. At least the quarterback had to feel it, but it just wasn't enough. Defense can win you championships, but it didn't win that game.
No.
And here they are with a shot at a national championship, and I think it's the other way around. The defense is definitely winning championships because Washington hasn't scored a point yet.
Nope.
And with another sack, I don't see how that is possible. And so now they're going to have to play it off the 9 as it's now 2nd and 16.
The quarterback looks pissed. And
I would be pissed too. It's like, where's the protection? Let's look at the linebacker, C.J. Allen, number 3. Exploited number 7. It's like nobody was home to protect the quarterback.
I don't know, man. This is not the time to have your pocket collapse on you.
And here we are, now at the 9. They're playing deep into their own space, and they're going to have to try to get some wiggle room to get out of this deficit. Right here, we see a flag. I think it might be a holding call. Ooh, did you see that?
Yeah.
64 ate that, and yes, it was a holding call by the offense. So now, against Mimilar, number 64, the left guard, just gained 10 yards, and now they're at the 5. And look at number 1's going to try to get some breathing room in, but doesn't gain much, only a gain of 2.
Well, it's 4:13 left to go in the third. And like I said, Washington, I mean, they still have time, but they don't have time.
I don't think they have time. If Washington cannot shut them down now, if they can't capitalize on this play, I don't know if they can recover from this deficit.
Well, we'll see.
Very key play by number 7. He's going to hold
on
out
to the end zone.
He's going to get out of there and has to throw it away. And you know what? I'm a little relieved for number 7 because had that been a safety, I don't think they were going to be able to recover. That would have been it right there. Their confidence would have been completely shut down if that was a safety.
Yeah, that is true. As they get ready to punt the ball,
they're going to give Georgia some pretty good breathing room off the 50-yard line, and that's going to be the fair catch signal. It's at the 49, but they're just a yard away to making it in the other direction to the 50. And right there, they're going to give it to the halfback number 1, Etienne. Etienne has been underperforming. I mean, he only had 5 carries, and he hasn't even generated over 10 yards yet.
Really?
Yeah, only 8 yards for 5
Did he score a touchdown?
A short touchdown, but it's interesting that you say that because when you look at that stat, it's very misleading. It makes it seem as if he hasn't really been producing. I would still say he's underproducing only because that touchdown was there, but outside of it, he's not really moving much.
Yeah, you got to have a point when you say in that aspect. With 3:17 left to go in the third, again, Washington has to start doing something because they're running out of time.
This is not the way Washington wanted to play this national championship, playing from behind by 21 as we're in the third quarter. And that is a great throw by the quarterback. Was able to get it to number 6. And right here, another pivotal first down for the Bulldogs. They are riding the wave and taking advantage of a sloppy defense from Washington. And look at that catch by number 6. No one was able to contain him. And here they are at the 19, 1st and 10. Is going to give it to the halfback, number 1, Trevor Etienne. Will only go back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing gained. Again, 6 carries for just 10 yards.
Yeah, boy, this is not...
I mean, it's an underwhelming stat from a very pivotal player.
This is true. But, hey, does it really matter when your team is up by 3 possessions?
Very, very facts. It's not necessarily the run that's got them there, at least for this game. And here we are. Etienne's going to hold on to the ball and is moving backwards at least a yard. And now it's 3rd and long.
What's with the shoving, man? You got to keep your emotions in check.
Washington is frustrated. They are absolutely frustrated. Highsmith playing with so much emotion because he's feeling that a championship is just slipping right through their hands. I mean, they got to contain themselves better if they're going to turn it around.
You don't want your best players getting ejected.
Not at the right time, and that was an important deflection.
Exactly. You see something like that.
Something like this can turn things around, and it's still the third quarter. All is not lost for Washington. I'm still hanging with them.
Well, let's see what happens here. I mean, they're most likely Georgia's going to punt. Oh, they're going for the field goal.
They're going to go for the field goal. It's going to be about close to 26 yards for this field goal. And it makes the upright, and that's going to be 3 points for the Bulldogs as they now move to a respectable margin at this point. Look at the formation from number 81.
Respectable margin?
25.
They're up by like 3 possessions.
It is respectable because that is the type of breathing room you want to carry into the final quarter of this national championship. So I don't know why you don't think it's respectable. All right, let me change my mind. It wasn't respectable. It's devastating that they're up by 24. Does that make it better?
I wasn't meaning in that aspect, but I see what you said.
So here we are. We're now under 2 minutes in the third quarter. And now the kicking team gets the ball back over to Washington. Washington's going to play it at the end of the field.
Wait,
and they're making movements past the 30, past the 40. They're already at the 40 the other way, the 30. And look at that. From the end of the field to Washington's 20.
This could be the turning point. Let's see what they do.
I mean, Georgia's 20. And right now, number 1, talk about a run.
This is, wow.
That punt return gave the life that Washington needs. Now the ball literally is on them. The court is on their house. They need to do something right here in this drive.
Well, they're already in the red zone. Can they cap off this drive with a score?
If they can, it will help turn things around. Number 7 is staying in the pocket, moving in, and nearly gets clotheslined by number 3.
I'm surprised that wasn't a roughing the passer call.
No, he was leading in. I figured he had to take that.
Took a hell of a hook clothesline, but at least he got back up.
And now it's 3rd and 5 at the 15. They're still in the red zone. Washington, you're not out here. If Washington doesn't capitalize on this play, should this be a 4-down type play?
Yeah, I mean, you get down 24-0, you got to go for it.
Number 1 is...
And gets the first. I think
he's number 7. Number 1 sold it for number 7 to make it in for a Huskies touchdown. Georgia is upset that they can't get the blowout, but who gives a damn? They're still in the lead. Let's look at Rodgers, the quarterback for the Huskies. Man, number 1, I believe the halfback sold it so well for the quarterback to make some moves. I guess the quarterback's going to try to get it done to get some points on the board.
Yeah, he's like, well, fine, I'll do it myself. As Washington finally, they're going for 2.
And they're trying to go for 2 points.
They should have just gone for the extra point.
I would have gone for the extra point, but they need as many points as they can to collect.
And
number 5 was unable to hold on to the ball. And that is not good for 2 points.
I mean, at least they get on the board, but he's still down by 3 possessions.
They are down by 18. And right now, the ball is kicked back over to Georgia's territory. They're going to run it off the end of the field and will end at the 17.
With about 46 seconds left to go in the third, they're probably just going to run it and take it to the 4th. I don't see them do anything crazy.
Etienne's going to hold on to the ball, and that was just a gain of 2. And now they're at the 19. And yeah, I agree with you. They're going to probably just hold on to the ball to chip the clock down. And I'm pretty certain at this point this might be the last play of the drive, maybe the second to last play.
No, they still got like 25 seconds, so probably enough to play at least 2 more plays.
So let's see here. The snap is made, fakes
pump
it,
fake.
And here he goes off the screen.
Did a pump fake to check down to go nowhere.
Only a yard gain. And with 10 seconds left, unless they hustle, I think this is going to do it. I don't think we're going to see another play.
No, that's probably going to go into the 4th. But yeah, I don't know what Georgia was thinking. You pump fake for a check down. I've never seen that before.
Nothing much was gained there. 3 quarters in the books, and Georgia is just 1 quarter away of becoming the CFT national champions. But Washington has something to say about that.
I don't know what they need to say. They need to say, hey, the coach needs to tell his players, you guys want to win? You want to believe here? Do something. And they're not doing anything.
Here we are now with a 3rd and 7 situation. Gets it to number 86, the tight end. And with a really key stop, Dylan Bell.
And the quarterback is getting frustrated.
Trying to make some movement, but was just 2 yards short of a first down.
I don't know why his quarterback is fighting him. You guys up by 3 scores. Okay, he missed the block. Chewing him out, he still needs some protection.
I think it's a question of consistency. They don't care if they're up by 18 or 36. If you screw up a play, yeah, you should hear it from your teammate.
Remember, I still got a block for you.
True, and that person needs to do their job. If they're trying to be spiteful, you're literally doing the opposite of being a team player.
Yeah, you got a point.
So with that, here we go. Playing as a team, they're
all day to throw.
Waiting.
Throws it.
It was worth it. Number 6 was able to hold on to the ball, and that quarterback said, you know what, sometimes slow and steady could win the race, but you know what, you got to speed up, because right here, forever in the pocket, a beautiful throw, and number 6 was able to capitalize on it.
Let's see here, with 56 left to go in the final quarter. Can Washington climb their way back?
Here they go now, gives it to number 1. And number 17 says, no, thank you. That's a gain of 4.
Yes. It's now 2nd and 6. 3:42 left to go. Washington has to keep the ball moving. They have all 3 of the timeouts. It's still time, but they got to score in this drive. They have to.
This is the drive. I know we say that often, but no, seriously. If Georgia gets the ball back, even with 3 minutes,
the game's over.
They can try to go for more points before they get to the 2-minute warning. So right now, he is scanning. Number 7 is still waiting. And right there, that's going to be a first down to number 1. And that's going to keep the chains moving. As now they move down to the 19. The fans are excited because they're seeing history in the making if they can shut down this drive. Right now, all the players are getting onto the field as they set up. It's 1st and 10 at the 19. And it looks like they're going to try to go for a option. But no, it's going to hold on to it. Number 7 is going to hold on to it. And right there, that's going to be a touchdown for the Huskies. And Washington is climbing back up. Could they do what they needed to do from the beginning to take home a championship victory? Boston with the touchdown.
Well, folks, it's not over till it's over.
It isn't.
They're figuring it out.
Denzel Washington, number 12, was at the right place at the right time with nobody next to him.
Well, folks, we'll see what's going to happen as we're going to continue in a few minutes. We'll be right back. And we are back, folks. It's 2:46 left to go in the fourth quarter. Washington is trying to come back. They're going for the extra point, which is smart. Just take the points. You don't want to take a 2-point conversion and lose it.
They got nothing to prove here other than getting the ball back and doing what they did before. It was a 4-play drive for Washington. And let me tell you here right now, if you felt that excitement, yes, you're watching a really good matchup.
They go for
and they tried to do the onside kick, but Georgia was able to recover it, so they'll play it off the 50.
I would have just trust my defense. I still got all 3 of my timeouts.
Yeah, I would have kicked it really far, forced them to play it from deep back. Now they have excellent field position near the 50-yard line and more as they get past the 50. They make it to the 43, and now it's 2nd and 5. Well, now with the timer ticking down,
okay, all right.
The fighting is not necessary. The clock is moving. If Washington wants this, they have to move with a sense of urgency. Now is not the time to fight. And with a few seconds to go before we land into the 2-minute warning, I think they'll get the snap out before the warning. And actually, yeah, they will. So with that, number 1,
they get the first.
Etienne manages to get the first down as we move into the 2-minute warning, the final 2 minutes of the modern CFT.
This is it right here. I mean, they got to get it stopped. Well, no, they got to get it stopped.
This is it. If Washington can stop them, and Washington can get the ball back, get a touchdown with an extra point, they'll be down by 4. And if they can get an onside field kick and get the ball back and get a touchdown, that 23 can turn into a winning game.
Well, let's see what they do.
But a lot of pieces have to go into play in the right places to make it happen. I don't know why number 42 hesitated like that. He was right to the quarterback. That should have been a sack.
Well, let's see what they do here. It's now 3rd and 2 with 1:50 left to go.
It is a moment that we've been waiting for a long time. As we're under the 2 minutes, this is the last set of plays that we're going to see in the tournament.
What the hell was that?
Etienne crashes into his own player, number 55, and nothing was gained. And, yeah, they're going to go for a field goal for about 35 yards.
Yes.
And here goes the kick.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's good.
Oh, my goodness.
Flag on the play.
If what I think happened, the game is over.
You just gave away
my goodness.
a championship to Georgia.
Oh, my goodness. The game is over.
Roughing the kicker.
They just take a knee and it's over.
That is the dumbest thing I have ever seen.
I can't believe this.
To believe that the game
is over.
Will end like this. The University of Georgia are the college football tournament national champions.
I can't.
Unbelievable.
I cannot believe what we just saw.
Washington had it in their hands. They could have possibly forced it to overtime, but instead they give the championship to Trevor Beck and the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Raise that trophy high. You're the CFT national champions.
I cannot believe that the game came down to a damn roughing the kicker.
A penalty ended. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be uncanny of me if I didn't announce first the player of the game, Carson Beck, the quarterback number 15 for 183 yards, over 80% in their passing completion for 2 touchdowns. And also for the last and final time, it's extra time. Let's talk about it because you know what? We've been on a phenomenal journey together. And I want to first start by saying that I know throughout the tournament, especially as we got into the playoffs, we've had some heated moments as we watched some really great football. But really, it was an honor working with you throughout this entire contest. And I want to first start off by talking about Washington. Washington, a very underwhelming performance. I mean, does the play that we just saw, does that wipe away all of the progress that they've made up to this point?
I mean, I have to say yes. I mean, you lost the championship off of a penalty, and you barely won. Let's just be honest here. They barely won the game against Texas, and to get here. And Georgia, I mean, what's not to say about Georgia? But we'll get to Georgia in a second. Washington, unfortunately, they just got beat by a better team, and they let their own incompetence and their own emotional state and their own mistakes is the reason why Georgia's hosting the national championship.
So it begs the question, did Georgia win this title game, or did Washington give it away and lost it for that reason?
I'm going to have to go with both. I think Georgia won this game decisively, and Washington screwed themselves out trying to make it close.
And you know what, Washington, I will end with this. You were able to demonstrate that at any given moment, at any given time, things can change, right? Moments can be made. I know that other guy preaches that sermon at least once a game or every other game. But you know what? That other guy is right? There were instances where Washington just needed that pivotal drive to turn things around. I kept saying it in the beginning that the second half has to be Washington's to earn and win if they have any chance of winning a title. And that penalty just, it reminds me of this thing that you often get upset about, but you can't disagree with me now. When you have kids on the field not checking their emotions at the door and playing this game like, players that really wanted a championship, you end up with a childish outcome like this.
Yeah, well, I hope they learn from it. But like I said, folks, what a journey we got.
Georgia, national champions. And let us not ignore this. They end 9-0.
The first team to only go undefeated in the tournament and win the championship.
Tulane, they defeated. Notre Dame, Liberty, Ohio State, Missouri, Alabama, Oregon, LSU, and now Washington. They are the CFT national champions. Now, before we end, let's talk about where we go from here in terms of our broadcast. We will be back next August as we will reveal 21 brand new teams competing for a chance at the CFT title. Until then, we will be shifting over to Classic CFT, and me, your guy, CFT, will lead the force as we go back to the classics of one of the greatest college games that we've seen digitally coming from EA Sports with college football, or in this case, NCAA football. So we'll be back as we go backwards, and I believe we'll be doing, I think it's NCAA 2012, and that won't kick off until mid-January of 2025. So until then, if you loved everything, don't waste any time. Like this video. Tell us what you thought about this game in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And if you really enjoy our content, we have so many other games from previous CFTs. Subscribe and watch those classics. But until then, again, that other guy, it has been a pleasure and an honor working with you. And it's very great to say thank you so much for supporting this show.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the journey we took to get here. We've done 3 tournaments and all of them been successful. Nothing bigger than the modern CFT. For all of us here, I am the other guy, Lawrenceville, Brownsville Gamer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this journey through the tournament. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Goodbye and so long.